My name is Gideon Hubert. I am the owner and editor of Paratus, an online resource pertaining to the safe and responsible ownership of firearms for civilians in the South African context, as well as for the advancement of firearm ownership rights in the Republic. And I'm also an advanced level firearms instructor, as registered with the Professional Firearms Trainers Council. My goal and accomplishment would be to increase awareness of the benefits and necessity of gun rights in South Africa, as well as how our right to keep and bear arms is directly connected to our right to life and bodily integrity as protected by the Constitution. Today we are here at False Bay Shooting Academy in Glencairn, where we're going to have a shootout between the Z88, formerly used by our South African police services, and the Glock used by the City of Cape Town's Metro Police. While current firearm legislation has become the target by Police Minister Bheki Cele, we invited a special guest, Alderman JP Smith, the Mayoral Committee member for Safety and Security for the City of Cape Town, and decided to get his opinion on the various issues at hand.
I'm going to put something on the cardboard. We're going to have you manage to get, what's it, 2, 3 on the cardboard.
Honestly, I don't understand how they can carry that every day. I much prefer the Glock. Easy to handle. Yeah, I mean the Z88 has a long trigger pull at the first round. I'm not a fan at all.
Yeah, old tech. If you look at this particular one, we shot mag release on the wheel. You've got to manipulate it with 2 hands. It's impossible for anybody to get release the mag with their thumb in the way that's been positioned. The Glock, much better firearm.
Z88 is a good old-fashioned all-steel firearm. It's got a great trigger on it. Controls are a bit archaic. It's not as ergonomic as the more modern handguns that were designed after and produced after the 1970s. The Glock is, as Aziz already mentioned, it's lighter, it's more ergonomic, it's easier to manipulate the controls, and it's also a very accurate firearm. So definitely, if you're in the 21st century and you're either civilian or law enforcement, Glock is now the way to go.
I much prefer my Glock. It's light and easy to manage, and yeah, a much more modern model to work with.
The city chose for Metro Police was an operational decision, but I've only ever carried a Glock myself, and so I can understand the simplicity of use, the ease of shooting. It's really the original point and click, as opposed to the CZ or anything else, much more difficult to manage, much longer travel distance on the trigger. So that's just, the Glock is just so much easier, and I understand why we settled on it. It has been pretty widely used by policing agencies around the world. So probably the better option. JP, come fire a proper gun. The thing I'm most concerned about with firearms legislation is the likelihood of more firearms being handed in and being in the possession of the National Police Service. Because my fear is that we will find more of those in the hand of gangsters. About 5-6 years ago, we started to consistently find firearms that had been handed in or seized by the police back in the possession of criminals. One senior police person took the fall for that, but there's no chance that he operated on his own. He was part of a network, and one person may have taken the fall, but you know that the rest of the network is sitting there. So my fear is that if many more firearms are going to find themselves into the way of safes in SAPS, we are going to have more gangsters with more guns. There seems to be an already almost endless supply of firearms that we have to deal with. I mean, it can't be possible that the leap officers take a firearm off the street every second or third day. Metro Police's gang and drug task team are doing 1 or 2 a week, and there's still almost an endless supply of these. They're coming from somewhere, and as it turns out, we now know from the CSIR's report that a lot of those are in fact resold by SAPS. That's very worrying, and my fear is that we'll all be digging a deeper hole at a time when SAPS's budget is reducing. You're going to have fewer SAPS officers.
We've run 2 amnesties now. 2 amnesties to hand in and relicense firearms with expired licenses instead of giving those persons a fine perhaps and the opportunity to reapply for them. So SAPS has been burdened with that process of having to take in each and every single firearm. The figures last time I checked were, I think, almost 500,000 firearms. I'm not sure that a lot of those have even been handed into SAPS for reapplication at this point. The other issue is that now new firearm owners or current firearm owners who are doing applications for sport shooting or self-defense are being hampered in their application process because CFR is overburdened. They can no longer deal with all the paperwork. We're sitting with piles and piles of paperwork at CFR that is just simply not being processed.
All right, so we have a situation in South Africa at the moment where the police are via the regulations to the Act, are empowered to administer a registry of firearms in South Africa. Not a licensing authority, I must add, a registry. That's what the law says. These are the most incompetent, corrupt, dysfunctional organization in South Africa's history. So we've given the power of life over death to the very worst people imaginable. This has to end. They are led by a police minister who openly lies to the public. In his introduction or in his explanation of the Firearms Control Amendment Bill, he said that all the people that had been involved in the Firearms Summit a couple of years ago in Parliament had been consulted on this bill and to it. We have just today received confirmation from the Police Ministry via the Civilian Secretary of Police, Advocate Alvin Rapier, that nobody was consulted outside of government circles. Either the police minister is lying or the police ministry is lying. One of them is lying to us. These are the people we entrust with something as crucial to our security as firearms? I don't think so. It's time to take off the blinkers. It's time to move the administration of this act away from the South African Police Service.
From a Girls on Fire perspective, the biggest impact for us is the effect it will have on women and their self-defense. I mean, we are here trying to ensure that women are no longer victims, and we live in a society that is torturing women and slaughtering them in public, and yet we're trying to remove a tool for them to defend themselves. To what end, we don't know. And how this bill will take away from self-defense as is mind-boggling, you know. And here we are trying to encourage women to speak up. We know that the SAPS are incapable of securing a woman's safety, and yet they're trying to take away that tool.
I think we are currently roughly 300 odd citizens to one police official. So it's not possible for SAPS to respond to us or to our needs or to a situation where we might find ourselves in danger. So unfortunately, the task is on us to be our own first responder. And I'm, for one, as a mother and as a woman, I'm not willing to become part of the government's experiment in gun control.
Precisely. We have to look after ourselves. We have to look after our families. We can't sit back and expect the men in our lives to do it. We have to take control of our own safety, and that's what we stand for.
Okay, so the important thing about this is to do something. Don't just whine on the internet. Whining on the internet makes you feel good, but it doesn't really accomplish anything. There are a number of public participation campaigns going for this. The Dear South Africa campaign that was set up for us is going tremendously well. The Institute of Race Relations has set up a public participation campaign that's submitted directly to the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee, which is very important also. The DA has set up a poll. A bunch of people have. Carte Blanche has set up a poll. A lot of things. Do everything, because we, for example, the Dear South Africa guys can track the submissions, and they've come back to us and said, guess what? None of those 66,000 emails has even been opened by the Secretary of Police yet. So we have suspicions, but do multiple things. Put your opinion over on multiple platforms. One of them will get through. These are important. This is absolutely crucial.
Not only that, but also reaching from or outside of the firearm owners circle. So this amendment bill doesn't only affect gun owners, it inadvertently affects everybody in South Africa. It affects various rights, and it has implications that we can't even begin to comprehend at the moment. So have the discussion with those around you and spark a debate on the subject, and perhaps we can get other people to comment on the bill as well.
Most importantly, as Paul said, do not whine on public platforms. Put your name down, state your reasons, get your name in there. It is important. This fight is for everybody. It's not just for gun owners or people in the gun community. It is for everybody.
Yeah, so one of the ways to do that is to get involved, join the organization, GOSA, Gun Owners South Africa, but we're open for everybody. You don't have to have a gun, you don't have to have a firearm, even in the process of getting licensed. Just join the organization.